Oops, no introduction today.
Oh, what? We're live already?
You're
We
live
are
already.
live already, guys. I'm sorry, I goofed off. I didn't set up the. I was doing a lot of recordings by myself behind the scenes for the cross training program on Udemy that you can find later. I'll make a separate announcement, and I didn't need that introduction, so I removed it. Anyway, welcome everyone to Elena's Bar and the Resurgence of Sanity. Hold on, I can do one thing really quickly here so that we can set the background, our regular background. Here you go. Okay, guys, we have an interesting topic today, and we will probably do the follow-up as well. Depends on how this one goes. And it was suggested by Steve. So why don't you start, Steve, with this?
Oh, yeah. So last night, Elena texts, Steve, do you have something you want to talk about today? I mean, she always wants me to come up with a topic. So
Women are demanding, folks.
Yeah, right.
So let's just go through. Yeah, she says, Steve, what do we want to talk about tomorrow? And I teased her a little bit. And then I said, will a woman be real to find real love? And then I answered my question. Nope. Okay, so being real requires the risk of revealing the real flawed person. Therefore, women choose to fake it and present a false self. Essentially, they want love. Women want to be loved. And if they have tingles for a man or a suitable man or whatever, yeah, that's a high risk. If I showed him who I really am, if I told him the real past that I have, if I told him my real desires, would he love me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, that's too scary. How about if I present the nice version of myself? You know, in modern, I'm not accusing any particular woman, but women have had their, most 20-year-old women in their 20s have had their fun. And now they kind of move to, oh, now I want to find a man. And I'm not the wanton, irresponsible woman. I am the good woman. So she presents that part of herself to be loved. And she receives love for that. But the problem is, over time, she realizes I'm not being, she feels, she doesn't realize, she feels something's off here. This isn't satisfying. I'm frustrated. I can't be myself, but she doesn't know who she is. So, what's the topic here? Love, real or placebo? Most people settle for placebo.
Wow.
Okay, you know what? I was busting on women there. Guess what? Men do this too.
I was just going to say that.
How do men do it? You want to answer that, Plutarch?
Well, have you ever heard the phrase happy wife, happy life?
Yes, all the time. Mm-hmm.
I'm not like saying it, but I'm saying it, right? When men go out there and they tell themselves that they have to appease their women, specifically their wife, but happy wife, happy life shows up in your girlfriend relationships too, guys. Oh, well, I can't say anything that might set her off. I got to do what she wants to do. Why? Because that'll keep her happy. That'll keep her with me. And there's a whole litany of things that you can't show her about yourself. That you have to spend incredible amounts of energy hiding, because if she found out, she might not like me anymore. Oh, I don't know if I can handle that.
Mm-hmm.
We have a label for these guys. What is
We
it?
do.
Sim.
Okay. Yes.
No,
Elena's favorite.
not exactly.
White Knight.
Nope.
No.
Robert Glover wrote a book
Oh,
about
Mr. Nice Guy.
They are the nice guys.
Yeah.
If I show her how nice I am, she will give me her undying love and affection. And I can be nice enough, I can receive love. That's fake too.
Yeah, simps are kind of nice guys taken to extremes.
Yeah.
Simp, in my mind, simp describes the actions of a nice guy.
Yeah,
Point.
we'll
Yeah.
go with that. We'll go with that.
Yeah. Tacticus wrote here, if I listen more and give you more time to heal.
Oh, the never-ending healing.
Healing. Okay, Steve, I wanted to ask you, because when you were talking about women, I see a lot of women, they are in this healing process, and Tacticus kind of reminded me to get back to that question. Is it fake too? Because all of this healing, because they do really believe that what they are portraying is true. It's
I'll
true in
take
their
that.
mind. It's like it's delusional, right? But they truly believe it, and then
No, it's true in their mind, but here's the thing: it's like any other psychological cudgel that I can use. If you use the man, and this is going to ruffle some feathers. If you as the man go, if she's constantly hitting you with, oh, well, this is part of my past trauma and I'm still healing from it, that's a manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And by continually condoning that behavior, co-signing on that behavior, all you're really telling her is that the behavior works. She gets what she wants out of you without having to change her behavior. So she's never going to heal. And I suspect that over the next few years, you're going to see a lot of women who have just magically found their healing, and they're done with their journey. Why? Well, men are, they're checking out, and there's a women are political creatures. Women are reading the room going, oh shit, the age of never-ending healing is over, therefore my never-ending healing is over too. And they're not even going to realize that they're doing this. This is a feeling. They're reading the room, they're feeling the room, and they're feeling the temperature change, and they're going to go, oh well, I'm healed now. I would argue that they probably never really had anything to heal from, but that's a different in most cases.
Well, it's an excuse for their poor behavior, all of that healing. Well, I behaved this way because I had this trauma and somebody abused me, and all of men are evil, and I didn't have that perfect experience that I was promised. It's all in their heads, and it's all delusional.
Bring up Tactus's comment again, because I'm going to address a different part of it. If I listen more, okay, word listen to what she's saying. No, In the manosphere, we've heard, don't listen to what she says, watch what she does. Okay, you can evaluate her. You're still on the superficial level. And then men try to figure things out. So what's the first thing a man tries to do? Figure out what she's thinking. Okay. Oh, you know what? I'm a deeper man. I'm not listening to what she's saying. I'm going to go one level deeper to what she's thinking. Guess what? He's not thinking. Okay, it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek. But women don't know what they think. If a woman starts talking, she's talking and she goes around in circles and she talks for 10 minutes. The entire time she's talking, she doesn't know what she's thinking. But by saying the words at the end of 10 minutes, she'll hopefully arrive at what she's thinking and figure it out. So my advice to men is don't consider what she's thinking. Oh, so what should the man do? Absorb the information, the words, just kind of deep, and then figure out what she's feeling. One level, okay, that's a level deeper than her words. She's emoting. She's trying to figure out what she's thinking. She can't articulate what she's thinking because she doesn't know what she's thinking. All she is feeling. And once she feels long enough, hopefully, she can find words and describe the thinking, move her feelings up to a thinking level. So if you want to understand women, you got to really go deep and quiet your mind and figure out, okay, what is she feeling? And that's the essence. What do you think, Elena? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I would actually call it active listening, trying to figure out person's intentions and what they are feeling.
Yeah, that's active listening, but it's described in a, okay, what's the goal of active thinking? It's usually, to figure out what they're thinking, what they believe. No, this is even deeper than that. Forget about what she believes. What is she feeling? And you can draw, is she frustrated?
Yeah. Well, okay, see what happens
is
then
she
when
disgusted?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Is she unfulfilled? Is she missing something but doesn't know what's missing? How the hell? Theoretically, okay, you're frustrated. I'm not happy about this or that. I'm not content. Something is missing from my life. Okay, I mean, I'm talking men and women. How the hell do you know what's missing?
Mm-hmm.
Can you determine what's missing by the absence of something?
Unless you've had that experience before and now you are missing, you probably wouldn't know what you are missing.
That's exactly right.
Okay, then you figure out what happens next. You figure out what she is feeling. Then what do you do with that?
Okay. Well, let's assume that she's frustrated and taking it out on the man. She's feeling unloved, or she's feeling frustrated with you, or she's being disrespectful. Okay, she's feeling that and she's acting out. Does she know why? No. She doesn't have words to describe what's missing. So now you have to feel what she's feeling. And okay, these are communication skills. And then over time, you can draw it out through conversation without, and don't escalate the situation. Don't react to her nasty words, probably directed at you. So she's feeling the absence of something. Okay. What is it? Well, the dynamics, just think about our modern world. And Elena's talked about this. Women, the world has told women they should be strong and independent. So they're trying to act that way. They've told men, women are strong and independent, and, you shouldn't boss them around. And, men want a woman who can manage herself. Good luck with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, even though she's trying to be the strong, independent, some level, she wants someone to manage her, direct her, and if nothing else, to avoid accountability. Okay, let's call this a deep-seated. She's designed to be in submission. Okay, well, that's in Ephesians 5. Okay, let's just accept that. Okay, she has that desire. And, okay, that goes into the sexual area, but it also goes into the life area.
Yeah, but they can't let go of their delusions, Steve. They can't let go of what they've been introduced to for their entire life. Because
but men can't let go of that either. I mean, this egalitarian equality stuff has been pushed on us so much that we can't identify the separate roles.
So is the man's job, hold on, I'll ask you a question to go back to your previous point where you were talking about feeling her pain, noticing what she feels. Is a man's job to feel what a woman feels and absorb all of your feelings?
Yes and no.
Okay. Can you elaborate on that?
You're the leader. You need to know how the people under your authority are acting, what they're doing, how they're feeling about your leadership, if they're frustrated in their roles, if they need more praise, how do you motivate them? Okay, every one of you is thinking about, in the husband-wife relationship, this sounds like a lot of work. Well, yeah. Let's just think about this in the larger world. Your boss doesn't give a shit about anything about your life and is just ordering you around all the time and what to do. You're going to give him your best?
Yes.
Are you going to be frustrated? Your boss kind of has to identify with you as a person and what makes you tick. So yes, it is kind of a man's responsibility to know that and to at least try to know that.
Well, but then the woman can always say that he doesn't try enough. He doesn't try hard enough.
No. I was actually going to liken this to a shit test. Okay. Because when a woman sees that something works, okay, she's like, she's doing something and something really bad goes wrong and she starts crying, right? She's feeling sad about something. She's crying and the hubby comes in and, comforts her. Yeah. And she sees that works.
Yes.
Okay. And then now well, if I cried last time, now the second time it won't be over nothing. The third time, but as we go on, it'll become less and less important, the thing she cries over. Because the purpose is to see whether or not she can manipulate you into giving her what she wants, the emotional hug, and more about, like what she can get away with, what she can get out of you. And so it can turn into a shit test. And it's not just about being able to understand, going back to the general analogy, yes, the general needs to know what his underlings are thinking, saying, doing, and feeling about what's going on, both above them and below them. But that doesn't mean that he's always going to jump in and address it. Right.
That's correct. Because if you're always jumping in to address it,
yeah,
you've reversed the roles, and now you actually become super attentive. And it's my job to please her all the time. No, it's not. It's your job to lead all the time. Sometimes you can be compassionate and understanding. Sometimes you just need to say, no, this is the way it is.
Well, and I think that a lot of guys would take it to an extreme when you tell them that you shouldn't be mean to women when you talk to them, and then they immediately revert to, well, then I have to be Mr. Nice Guy. There is no kind of middle ground that you're talking about, that sometimes you say no, sometimes you give her a hug, or you listen.
Okay. Guys, I've done this to Elena.
And
I tell her no while I'm giving her the hug.
Oh, jeez.
Look, women are women, guys. They really want the hug, and so sometimes, what's the old saying, Steve? The iron fist and the velvet glove.
Correct. Yeah.
Sometimes you have to say no because that's the best answer. Doesn't mean you have to be a vicious asshole about it every time. No, you can't have that because X, Y, and Z. Sometimes it's okay to give her the hug and then say no at the same time.
Well, sometimes you have to be firm because
sometimes that's up to how the woman's behaving.
Yeah.
If she's if she doesn't take it, if she doesn't take the velvet, then the iron fist in the velvet glove, well, the velvet gloves come off. We don't take the iron fist away. The velvet comes off.
Well, you're kind of saying a man can be firm and kind. A man can be firm and compassionate. It's not an either or thing.
Correct.
Well, Tacticus here wrote compassionate. Hold on. I took things literally and personally conflated with my care about your perspective and insights, but my analytical mind never dreamed it was games.
Tacticus, I would say that's most men. And when the red pill starts talking about frame, this is what we're talking about. It's not enough to have an analytical mind. You still need to be taught what the games are and what the valid responses to the games are. And there's guys out there say, just be as much of an asshole as possible. And for a short-term relationship, that works just fine. But eventually what ends up happening is you end up stepping in something where being an asshole was in fact the wrong answer, because there is something real going on there. And what you told her is that you weren't paying attention, because not everything is a shit test, guys. Women have real emotion and real problems too. It could be with family. That's a pretty common one. Like you guys have to learn how to pay attention.
Okay, this resonates with me when he says my analytical mind never dreamed it was games. Well, I agree and I disagree. It's not a game. It's not games. She is not doing things to manipulate you. But as an
Well, sometimes she
analytical
is.
guy,
Sometimes she
well,
is.
okay, most of the time not. I mean, I'm highly analytical because I went to school for mechanical engineering.
Hey,
It's about
me too.
one of the most analytical things out there. I am highly analytical, and Plutarch is as well because he's just basically a software engineer. You gotta think analytically. But the downfall of that is you're trying to solve problems analytically and understand the structure, what makes it tick, how they're thinking in the abstract sense. And you're using your analytical mind to do that and then come up with better arguments to convince her, whatever. It never works. But you have the skills. You need to develop them to use your analytical mind to consider how she's feeling one level deeper, which is driving her words and kind of circumventing her thinking. And her feelings are driving what she's doing and saying. And it's not going through her thinking mind a lot of the times. When she is highly emotional, she's not thinking, she's emoting. So you can actually use your analytical mind to go a level deeper into her feeling.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you have to do anything about what she's feeling.
Well, doing or not doing something is too it's too crude.
Yeah.
And by crude I mean it's not
Like
there's
you don't
there's
always
nuance
have
here.
to solve
Right.
the problem that
It's
she.
too simplistic.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
too simplistic. Yeah.
Yeah.
What the whole purpose, so I was talking about frame earlier, right? Frame is a detection mechanism. Okay.
Mhm.
Game is where you start playfully toying with the detected shit test. So game is dependent on frame. I don't care how good your game is. If you have no frame, you'll be constantly misapplying the game. Okay. And I've said this before on other videos, stuff like this. So in my view, short term, yeah, game probably is sufficient. But if you want an actual long-term relationship, it's frame above all else, because frame is your radar for, is this something that she actually cares about and is like that this is actually hurting her and she needs, she actually needs that emotional support, or is she just shit testing me and I need to go, swat it back, swat the ball back at her and make some sort of joke out of it.
Would you say that women for long-term relationship, they need men to emotionally support them?
They need men who can tell the difference.
No, they don't need men to emotionally support them. They need a man who can understand their emotions.
Which, yeah, okay, yes, that's what I was trying to say.
Sometimes you can support her, but it's not required all the time. I mean, it's obviously you need to do that some of the time. But and I know this is true, because you've gotten into arguments with somebody and you're laying out your points, and it's like they ignore everything you say. They want to prove you wrong. They ignore everything you've said. They have not heard you. And that means that drives you to get very frustrated and want to just either blast that person or just say, okay, we can't have a productive conversation. But it doesn't lead the two to coming together. Most of the time in these kind of discussions, I really don't care if the other person agrees with me or supports my view. I don't care. I just want to know that they heard and considered what I was saying. So in the same way with emotions, does a man need to emotionally support a woman to please her or for a long-term relationship? No. But he does need to understand her emotions. And sometimes he can disagree. Sometimes he can agree and support. But if he doesn't understand, she's going to be very frustrated.
That's called frame, guys. Frame is how you detect and understand what's going on. And if you don't have it, I don't know what else to tell you. It's probably not going to work out, which I think is the fascination with short term. Short term, your frame doesn't have to be all that good. You can just game her to get what you want, but eventually she's going to actually run into something where you needed frame to determine that, that the game needed to change here, and she's going to blow it up because she's going to end it because you blew it up and you didn't understand, which is, I think, why you see all these women on the intertubes whining about these bad boys, because eventually something happened that with the bad boy that they went, wait a minute, he didn't actually understand.
Well, yeah,
Okay,
because they are short-sighted. They only want
let's
the
let
game.
Steve cook
Okay.
here for a second.
Let's equate game with tools.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. I can agree and amplify. I can give her a hug.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I can say, no, you're not going to do that, and just stand firm. There's I can tease her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those are tools. Okay, you got a toolbox at home. Okay, you have tools in there. Oh, something's wrong. I'm going to open the drawer. Hey, I'm going to bring out a screwdriver. And I'm going to use this tool to fix it. Well, gee, you needed a socket and a ratchet. Okay, put the screwdriver away. Or, this is a job for a hammer. Okay, game is like having tools. The frame is the knowledge of which tools to use in which situation.
Exactly.
And so a lot of guys learn game. Okay, bro, learn game. And you're going to go and you're just going to randomly grab a tool. I'm going to use this tool. It doesn't work out for you. Oh, this game stuff is all bullshit. Okay. Yeah. Hey, buddy, you never understood how she's feeling. You have weak frame and you're using the wrong damn tool.
Yeah. And guys, we've all been there. We've all used the wrong tool. One of the great benefits, one of the enduring benefits of the red pill is that it teaches us, look, some guys, they're never going to be able to analytically use frame and say, that was the wrong tool for this job. Maybe I should use a different tool and try that next time it happens. Most guys won't do that. Why? Because they're sitting here listening to women tell them what tool they think should work. That's most guys.
Yeah, okay. Let's talk about new auto mechanic. He didn't. Well, maybe he went to school. Oh, the Snap-on truck comes by. Oh, I saw that guy over there, and he's got all these great tools. I need to go out. I'm going to spend $5,000 and fill up my toolbox with the greatest tools. Okay, great. A lot of good that does you until you have the experience to know which tool to use in which circumstance. You cannot get through life just filling up your toolbox. And how do you learn to use those tools? It takes experience.
Well, I want to say
no
something.
way here. Me at 20, early 20s, was effectively using tools that in a lot of cases I didn't even know existed. Yes, I needed to acquire the tool, but I also needed the experience to acquire the frame.
So I want to stretch this metaphor a little bit more. The Snap-on truck, for most men, that Snap-on truck is driven by a woman. The woman is a purveyor of tools. Women will tell you all the various different ways that you can make them feel. You see it all over, men getting yelled at by women on the internet. Men, you should do this when you see this.
Mm-hmm.
The you should do this is the tool. The manipulation is the when you see this part. A good mechanic is not going to go to the Snap-on truck driver for advice on how to fix a car. That's not the Snap-on truck driver's job. Okay? It's not the woman's job to tell you how to fix herself. Okay? She can't do it. And if she does, she's immediately going to turn around and use it to manipulate you to get what she wants. Okay? She's the truck. She's the tool salesman. But a woman cannot and will not teach you frame. You got to go to school for that. That school is called the red pill. Now, it can be a school of hard knocks where you learn stuff just trying stuff. And, hats off to guys like Steve and Dalrock and Roosh and all those fellows who went to that school of hard knocks and then wrote it down for us so that those who came after didn't have to go through all the hard knocks. Now, men being men, many of you will still choose to go through the school of hard knocks because, we don't like reading so much. But the red pill is there. The knowledge is enduring. It's not like women have radically changed their psychology in the past 5 years and we need to go, demolish all the old red pill knowledge and start over. No, we don't. The knowledge is there. And we are just going to keep very calmly for as long as we have to, which will be forever, putting this knowledge out there. Just, guys, frame. And then, Steve, how much time have we spent on various episodes with Elena here talking about various aspects of frame?
A lot.
Because it matters, right?
It does matter.
Yeah. And how many times I tried to explain something to Elena and she perceives it wrong and asks a question. And Plutarch comes in. He already explained it. How many times does she perceive what I'm saying and kind of miss the point?
Every damn day.
That's exaggeration.
No, not really. Most of our lunch conversations have to do with me explaining something that Steve said in grave detail, and all of them end with some form of, oh, I hadn't thought about it like that.
I had no idea that I have this much impact on your lives.
Yeah,
Well,
we talk about red pill a lot.
We do. We are constantly thinking and processing for you guys. We're constantly trying to come up with not just new ideas, but although we do that, but that's actually not the bulk of what we do. We come up with different ways to package these ideas so that you, the audience, can understand with them and more easily interact with them. Steve, how many acronyms have you come up with since we started?
I don't know. Many, but 3, 4 I kind of use to give people a simple way of remembering this. And why do we use acronyms? We can remember. You know this one?
Quiet.
SOCATOA.
Never. No. It's Silkatoa. No.
Sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine
Oh, okay.
equals adjacent over hypotenuse. TOA. Tangent equals opposite over adjacent. How the hell do you remember that? Oh, gee, somebody came up with an acronym.
Now that you say it, I remember it. I haven't heard that since grade school, though. My goodness.
We also have Shah in the comments. Great to see you, Shah.
Shaw figured it out.
Yeah.
Good on you, Shaw. That one got me.
So, yeah, okay. When we get in a stressful situation, discussion with a woman that gets emotional, or discussion with a friend, okay, our cognitive ability declines. You need simple acronyms to go back and apply it. And hey, what do airline pilots use? Checklists,
Everywhere.
acronyms to remind them what they should be doing. Does that keep them alive?
The aviation world is so full of acronyms that they might have too many. It's I mean, you can overuse these things, but yeah, I mean, you're gonna learn the purpose of the acronym. So an acronym is, in at least in aviation, is a really, really shorthand checklist. Okay. So I can't remember the acronym, but there's an acronym for a clearance. So if you're doing an instrument flight, you get a clearance, and it's got all this information on it. And I can't remember. CRAFT, CRAFT. See, I remembered it. CRAFT, and that's clearance, route, altitude, frequency, and time. Okay. Every pilot who's ever flown a plane has heard that acronym. The pilots who are listening in now are going, yes, CRAFT. We know CRAFT. Okay. But that's also a checklist. What did I list off? 5 things that you absolutely have to have. Okay. Now, some checklists are more involved. And look,
Right.
guys, I'm not saying you can checklist your way into succeeding with women. Airplanes are machines. Women are humans. They have human problems.
But TLAs help you to maintain your frame. What's a TLA?
3-letter acronym.
No, there's even an acronym to describe what an acronym is.
Right. Yeah. And men particularly, I think, when you're dealing with complex systems, and aviation is a complex system, checklists and shortcuts help you deal with the normal stuff. You know, I can point you to aviation disasters where the pilot survived by throwing away the checklist, because there's nothing written for that situation. Sometimes you're going to have to do it. But I also want to make a point here. That's rare. Women's psychology hasn't changed much in centuries, and it certainly hasn't changed significantly in the last 5 years.
And women are complex systems as well.
Yes.
Most of the time, if you understand, okay, this is not a unicorn. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You do need to understand the system and that it's complex, gain some experience, and use your 3-letter acronyms and your checklist. But in order to understand it, it's not what she's thinking, it's what she's feeling.
Have we belabored this point enough, Steve? Because
Probably not. Probably not. It just needs, you need to keep reminding of men this thing. Now, maybe enough for now. Then they have to go out and try to apply it. Okay, you're going to try to apply it, and you're going to fail. But you're gaining experience. If you remember, oh, yeah, that old man Steve said, I should try and understand what she's feeling. Oh, I kind of understood, but then it all went tits up and blew up again. Okay, great. You remembered to try. You gained a little bit of experience. It's going to take, you're going to have to go through it again and again and again to master this. Well, you probably never master it, but you have to know what to look for first before you can find it.
Well, and I want to say something else here about the women is it used to be that because women were geographically restricted in who they could select, there was some pressure for them to work with, for them to recognize that the guy was progressing in his understanding of how women work, that he was getting better. And so she would, if not reward that, she wouldn't leave him immediately for, Chad number 768 on Instagram. So I think there was a little more socially enforced toleration of men who didn't get it right the first time. That is definitely something I think that we've lost a bit. Uh-oh, Steve's looking something up.
Oh, you can't with Plutarch. This is Elena's channel.
Uh-oh. What
and we're just dominating the conversation.
We are.
And she had a lot of things that she asked about. And, she's content sitting there just listening to us talk. But, there's a lot of things she doesn't understand. So let me go back to some of the things she read. And we need, because we have to assume other women have these same feelings about it. Effeminate or feminized men and simps want strong, independent women. Women show what they think is popular, and this gives them what they want.
I would rephrase the last one, because I don't think they get what they actually want, but short term, they get what they want.
They get what they say they want, which is a placebo, and it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so you've often heard us men say, here's another one that you've heard from throughout time. Women just don't know what they want.
Yeah.
How many sitcoms have that as their core gag?
Okay. So, the premise of the show was real or placebo. Do they show who they really are, flaws and everything, or the perfect vision that they want you to see? Elena says, Steve, they see perfection in their imperfections. That's the new culture, and it's a feminized version. They want the best of both worlds. Okay, yeah. Okay, so real or placebo? Under which category fall tingles?
You say it under both.
I said under both. Feelings or tingles just exist independently.
Mm-hmm.
A woman with tingles can be presenting a perfect false sense of herself, or she still, if she chooses to present who she really is, the tingles exist regardless. It's not an either or. So, the love choice, real or placebo? Okay, she's got tingles. Is she going to risk being her real self with her dark thoughts, insecurities, uncertainties,
Oh,
and
but this
show
is
that to
why.
you? Or does she want to present herself as the modern, strong, independent woman and have the man love her for that? And men are trained to not want the insecure woman and want the strong, independent woman. At least that's what we're told.
Okay,
But I
hold
tell
on.
you what, every woman is insecure under the facade.
They want both. They want to be strong and independent, and yet they want to show their. They see perfection in their imperfections, meaning that they are so out loud delusional that they don't see that there are flaws in them. They this is why they pursue this constant healing process, because okay, I'm strong and independent, and I'm going to heal because I just want to be real who I am. You know, I kind of see that they want both.
Sure. They want both. They can't figure it out. They're not thinking, they're feeling that they want to be accepted, but they don't want to give the risk of showing who they really are. Because that might, oh, I mean, look at women relationships. I mean, women pander and placate to each other. A woman will tell a bold-faced lie. Oh, he was the worst man in the world. He did this and that. And her friend, oh, I understand how you feel. Yes. Oh, yeah, what you did was right. He might have previously had a thought that, hey, he was a great guy. Oh, I've seen, and she may know some of the secrets her friend has. And she may have observed how she treated that guy and been gossiping about that to her other friends. But no, she will soothe, placate, and pander, basically lie. And it's all an artificial world because, oh, don't insult another woman. So women are trained to live in an artificial, superficial, facade kind of world and pay lip service to each other's bullshit. So, how the hell is she going to go from that into an intimate relationship with a man and be real with him when she's telling lies to all her girlfriends so they can soothe her?
Well, and also they are in constant search of themselves, this constant path of healing, or they are looking for themselves because they are trying to find the true self. Let's say, and a lot of women in their 40s, they divorce their man so that they can pursue that kind of path, right? It's but they are presented with the false information too, because it's all about team woman. It's not about how to be in a happy relationship with the man that you currently have, for example, right? It's all like you do you, girl, find yourself. Like they are in constant search of themselves.
Sure.
Do you think it's because they are living in the placebo and they're trying to find themselves and they never seem to accomplish that?
Yes. But is this anything new?
No.
No.
No, it's not. Okay, this is kind of simple. The man needs to lead
Mm-hmm.
and then have her follow. and check up and watch how she's behaving, thinking, feeling, saying. Understand her reality, her perception of reality.
You know,
And then
Steve,
read that. But you don't, the leader doesn't look back to see how is she doing, what's going on over there, what should my next move is. It's like driving, looking in the rear view mirror. How the hell does that work for you?
well, it doesn't work. And this actually reminds me of my first marriage. She was just flabbergasted when I immediately picked up on, you know, her cheating. Like I picked up on it within days. And because she had written her story of the relationship of me not paying any attention to her. You know, I had no idea what was, you know, going on. I was too busy at work, of course. Never mind, that was her own fault because she was demanding that I make more money. Like, well, okay, bitch. You can't have it both ways. But in feeling, and this is kind of the point I want to make. In feelings world, you can have it both ways. Okay. So part of the reason that men need to lead is because the world isn't feelings. And so sometimes you have to come in. Yeah, kind of tacticus.
Mhm.
But the only way to get her to buy into the frame over feelings is to actually lead. Okay. Now, this doesn't stop women from writing stories from themselves, particularly at the behest of other women, that you're not actually doing this. Okay. Women, a lot of the reeing you see on the internet about all these toxic men who, these toxic red pill guys, is more because they didn't want to buy into the frame.
Mhm.
Okay. You were supposed to maintain all your masculine traits, but you were also supposed to give in to her frame because she needs, in order to control the relationship, she needs you to buy into her frame.
Well, and there is a slippery slope in there when you start listening to her and understanding her. This is where like guys take it to an extreme, and then women expect men to.
Yeah, we have a term for that. That's called
Mhm.
losing frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the slippery slope, quote unquote. It's there for a lot of things in life. And
Mhm.
it turns out that women can use that slippery slope to figure out if you're a strong man with strong frame or not. And
Yeah.
that's when the disgust comes in. If you're not.
Let me describe this story. Women complains, he's not leading me where I want to go. Okay, let me ask you, where do you want him to lead you? I don't know.
Yep.
Somewhere.
I just need to go find myself.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that the story of a lot of
Yeah, if he doesn't lead
frustration?
her, she will find somebody who will lead her into her delusions. So she will double down on her delusions and her feelings.
Women always find leadership. Even and here's the thing, they will find leadership, and this is going to depend on the women. This is where you as a man have to actually do your vetting. Okay.
Yeah.
Some women have grown up with the idea that there is no such thing as a strong man. And so it doesn't really matter if you are leading or not. Because in her mind, and by the way, yes, I am talking about the feminists, just put that in there. Okay. The feminist woman cannot accept the concept of a strong man. It doesn't mean they're not attracted to them. Yeah. yes, tacticus. They can. And this is kind of what we're talking about here is these women, they tell themselves that all women are stronger. So when the strong woman comes in and you do something as a man, you're trying to lead the relationship and you do something, you tell her no. The
How
horror.
dare you?
Yes. She goes to the woman who she has been programmed to believe is stronger, and she goes a stronger leader. And well, what would you do? And of course, the answer is always ditch his ass, because that's their answer for everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or control him.
Yes, they will say that, but that only works on the simps. So
Exactly. The manipulations only work on the Sims. Yeah.
right. So if that does, so the first answer will probably be, can you control him and how? When the guy continues to try to be the leader that he's been, if Nick were here, he would talk about this, from the church aspect. He'd say, the church would get in here, well, just be that servant leader, right? So when the guy's trying to do his job and she goes, wait a minute, he's actually doing his job, but the sisterhood told me that he was wrong. So, oh no, I need to go ask the sisterhood what I should do again. And then the answer becomes ditch him. And I think I probably just summed up the story of most men who get divorced.
Well, these are the stories of most women too. Like they listen to the sisterhood, they end up being divorced, single, miserable, and unhappy, in pursuit of themselves, finding themselves, loving themselves, and all of that crap.
Okay, I want to do another simple analogy. Okay, your car has a dead battery.
Doing the car
And
ones
as guys, yeah, we've experienced this. You need to get it started. What? Oh, you need to bring another car over. Use jumper cables. So, how about we take one wire and connect the black to the battery, the negative, to the black on the other battery. Rev the engine and, gee, is it going to start? No. You got to have the negative and the positive. You got to connect the positive. So we know from a battery, you cannot have, okay, no matter how much negative you have, it's not going to power the system. Therefore, in the Christian world, okay, let's move over to the Christian world. Man, thump on the, she needs to be more submissive. I want a submissive wife. Okay, great. You want the submission. Can the submission exist without dominance or dominion? Okay, we go back to Genesis. Adam was given dominion and dominance. Different than domineering. But can you expect a woman to submit if you are not the dominant leader, which does not mean a cruel tyrant? Can the negative exist without the positive?
No.
So what did Adam say after things fell apart? It was the woman. It was her fault. Oh, we got in this situation because of her, and you gave her to me. So God, it's your fault. What does the manosphere say now? Oh, it's all the women. It's the women out there. Oh, it's not me. It's the damn women.
Yeah. Nick is here.
Hey.
Hi, Nick. Great to see you.
Guys, you can't expect the women to be good, quote, submissive wives if you're not the dominant leader with frame. Not saying you need to be the asshole.
It's just the natural order of things. And if Nick were able to be online with us today, he would probably just be pounding the table. Natural order, guys.
Oh, he can be. Okay. Did you? Oh, can you or you can't be? Because you said you can be. I'll send you the invitation here. I'll put it in the chat.
No, don't put it in the chat. Don't put
Nick
it in the chat.
knows where to find it. All he has to do is go to StreamYard.
Okay.
I never need invitations to any streams anymore.
Yep.
I just start up my StreamYards and it's right there.
Okay, it's automatic. Okay.
None of you need them anymore. That's
Okay.
I set it up that way.
Cool.
Nick, yeah, go ahead and pop in if you want to. We'll happily talk about. We'll help you pull you in. So, but Steve, wait a minute. You're saying that the men share some culpability here.
I know. It's shocking. I had to learn this the hard way. What good does it do me to, after going through a divorce and saying, oh, it wasn't my fault. I just need to go find the right woman.
Good luck with that.
Damn, what was defective in me that made me pick the woman that I did that resulted in the problems I had? Do I have some blame? Maybe not for the thing, but for who I am. What do I need to learn?
Yeah.
Now, how many women get divorced? Just say, well, he was a bad man. And I need to go out and find the right man. Yeah, okay. She's not done the inner work. Okay. This is TikTok, the inner work. But okay, there is some truth there. She has not done the soul searching to analyze and accept her part, which might be not telling him the truth, putting on a facade, getting false love because she never risked showing him who she was. Yeah, possibly she could have picked a bad man who was being a fake, put forth a facade, and she could have been deluded. But even if that's the case, there was something in her that believed that delusion and soothed something in her. So, you know what? You got to look at yourself. Otherwise, you're going to repeat the same mistake. You cannot look to an external force or an external person to fix what you fucked up or the past fucked up situation.
Well, if you look
Hey, what do you have to say, Nick? I'm sure you've been listening for a while. You're full of thoughts.
I was doing some boat duty. Shoot. I'll listen in for a little while, then I'll comment.
Okay, because I can take this and I can run with it. So I too am divorced, and I was divorced. I spent weeks after. Really, it started after I found out she was cheating on me. So, call it 8 weeks or whatever of just really thorough introspection. What did I do wrong? And there was a list of things I did wrong. It was not there's a doggy.
Look at that.
The list of things that I did wrong was extensive, but it wasn't none of it rose to the level of she had or without Team Woman. None of it rose to the level of she had the right to say I was a bad man who was worthy of being kicked to the curb. I didn't lay hands on her at all. So there was no abuse. There was no abuse of any kind whatsoever. In fact, one of the things that I learned in my introspection was I might have been a little too hands off about the whole relationship. Not a strong enough leader, right? Like all of those things came out of it. But at the end of the day, I wasn't the one that cheated. And the point that I want to make here is that the difference between how men approach this introspection process versus how women approach this introspection process. Men, we have the red pill. Not all men use it. but most men that I know of that have gone through some sort of divorce or breakup will spend an enormous amount of time self-analyzing what they did wrong.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Women will not.
Imagine that.
Well, and then they
Imagine that.
also have the sisterhood that panders to them. They go
Exactly.
out, they take it
Oh,
out,
you
and then
go,
the
girl.
women, like, oh, you go, girl, right?
Exactly.
You do
They
you,
have
you
the
are
sisterhood.
perfect.
Let me build on that. A man, to have a different future, has to just innately realizes I have to do something different to have a different outcome.
Yeah.
So I got to look at myself to figure out, why did I make this mistake? Yeah, okay, my actions didn't rise to the cause level to justify what she did. But yet, how can I avoid this outcome in the future? I have to look inside.
Right.
Whereas women, on the other hand, look
No.
at it. I had to do this because of him. So therefore, how do I look to find another man so he doesn't cause me to do this? It's
So
looking at external,
so
and men look internal, even though if the major fault was with the woman, theoretically.
so I spent a lot of time self-reflecting. I always self-reflect, guys. No big surprise. Most of my words are in my head. Have an internal self-critique, self-examination. A lot of people don't do that. That's a constant for me. Some people might call it more of an introspectionism, but no, I just take who I am and what I do seriously. And my perfect no. Could I have done things better? Sure. But you can't fix crazy sometimes. So when they make their own decision, there's nothing you can do. And look, they're not going to be held accountable. What they're going to do is they're going to do this. It's like this rotation. A lot of them can't ever learn. They're going to go for, oh, well, he was this too toxic masculine guy. So they're going to go for build a better beta. And then that's not going to work out for a while. And then they're going to switch back and forth. They might learn, but probably not.
Well, they can't learn because the sisterhood is a hive mind. And so the sisterhood's primary concern is making sure you conform to the hive. And that is in constant tension with their actual nature. The female desire to be in submission to a man. It's there. They hate it. How many TikToks have we all watched where, they're complaining about the fact that they hate everything that Chad stands for, but they just can't get enough of Chad, right?
Oh, they're gonna have all these rules, but then they'll end up breaking them.
Right. That's exactly where that phrase comes from. They make rules for betas and break rules for alphas. So they can't. Their enforcement mechanism is external, and the male enforcement mechanism is primarily internal. It's from self. The male mechanism can produce forward motion, progress, improvement. The female is just a choice between, do I follow the hive mind or do I follow my nature?
Well, guys, I have a question for you. Because I often see on social media, especially it's yoga related, like meditation related, or the self-acceptance, self-love bullshit that women are being exposed to. They say, look internal, because all of the answers are within you. And then Steve mentioned that men, in order to analyze what was going on, you also guys look internally. But I think the main difference is that you just approach it differently.
Okay.
Okay. Do you mean go Bible?
Go Bible.
Yeah,
Okay,
go.
guys. In Judges, what was the constant refrain? The people did what was right in their own eyes. Or you go to Jeremiah, the heart is deceitful above all things, who can know it? And talks about the heart and the soul being only evil continually. Okay, guys, looking inside yourself will not work. You are not a divine being. That's where that Eastern crap comes from, or you're within the divine being, have an individual consciousness, or you try to lose yourself within the oneness, whatever the hell that is. So
Yeah.
yeah. Pantheism versus panentheism, actually, but
So,
the heart of man is evil, men and women. Look
I-
inside yourself, it's dumb.
well, I want to
tend to
take
agree
this.
with Nick. Yeah.
I'll take this down the secular explanation. The looking inside yourself. What men aren't doing is looking inside themselves for the answers. And I want to make this very clear. We are looking at what we did and asking, how can we make changes to that? So we look at past action. We go, okay, that action was, that was an inferior or insufficient action. What changes can I make? When these Eastern folks come along and they say, oh, look inside yourself, what they're actually saying is trust your feelings.
Yes.
Look at your feelings. And that's what Nick is getting at. The heart is deceitful. Your feelings will lie to you. Okay. The rational male, hi Rolo, and he's not looking inside himself for the answers. The introspection is more of an analysis of what actions you took, how were they insufficient, what can you do to improve them next time. But it's not looking at feelings, it's not looking at your heart, it's using your rational mind to overcome what your heart wants to be true.
Well, true, and its focus is on solving the problem. Women don't want to solve the problem.
Exactly.
Correct. Okay, let's look at the nature. Genesis. Man was created with dominion, authority over the animals and the garden and the world. Okay, in order to exercise that and have dominion, you have to understand it. Okay, you failed. Okay, and it's in his nature to go in to his mind and figure it out. Okay, how can I do things differently so I don't fail in the future? So he goes introspective. Good. So I'm showing the nature of man defines what he does. So in a woman, okay, within a marriage, she has her thoughts, or her beliefs, and her nature. Now, if we're going to go and believe that God created two sexes, two genders, man and woman, the woman was created to be the helpmeet, the helper. She was created out of man. She has some of the same traits, but she was not given all of the traits and talents that Adam had. Possibly not given the gift of dominion over her offspring and over her husband, although she strives for that in the curse. So, okay, she was created to be a helpmeet. Yes, created to be an underling in submission, still valued, equally valuable as a person, but for a different role. That's her nature. That nature exists even in the modern world. But now, feminism, society tells her, oh, you're strong, independent. The church tells her, you are equal to a man. It's now a partnership. It's complementarian. You're egalitarian. So her beliefs are, I'm equal. But her desire and nature is she responds to a dominant man in a submissive role, which kind of soothes her nature. But so her mind and her nature are at odds. And Christianity is not addressing this.
Well, I think women... Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Women are trying to compensate for the lack of the traits and skills that Adam was gifted with, and women didn't. And they are trying to use all of the
Gotta
social.
go, guys. Y'all take care.
Take care. Thank you,
Okay.
Nick.
Thanks for joining us, Nick.
They are trying to compensate for the lack of the skills and the knowledge that maybe Adam has by using society against men and giving them that privilege over men. I think because they are. It's either they are deeply insecure in their natural role, where, especially with all of the feminist propaganda that has been brainwashing them. What do you think?
Well, I think it's actually simpler than that. I think any human, male or female, when offered that kind of power, the power of dominion, want it, and they'll take it. And look at the history of feminism. That's pretty much how it played out.
Mm-hmm.
They, you know, yes, they didn't initially vote for suffrage, but now you can't convince them to, give it up, because the women back then may have understood the responsibilities of power, but the women today sure don't. Okay, so I think they look at it and they go, "You're telling me that I can have power over not just other men, but other women too? Oh yeah, that's a thing." Okay, and they can say, "And all I have to do is sign up to the sisterhood, and the sisterhood will tell me how to solve all the problems. This is too easy. I can do this. It's easy. It's easy enough that they go, oh yeah, I can do that, and they do it. And because power is a universal siren, it tugs at the hearts of men and women, and so that when they finally get some, they go, I want more of this. This feels fun.
Yeah, and
Right.
society doesn't hold them accountable, and there are no restrictions, no responsibility placed upon them for all the power they get. It's like basically free power, and nothing is asked of you.
If you obtain power over others, will they love you?
They will probably be scared
No.
of you because of how you tilted the laws and the consequences for them if you have power.
So a woman who is in control of her husband tells him what to do. He's a servant leader. She tells him what to do. He has the power in the relationship. Will she feel loved? Elena, what's the answer?
No, she won't.
Okay, so now let's go back the other way. Let's say the man is the head and he has power over, he feels his power. He's leading. He's actually allowed, or he can tell her what to do. She obeys. He's not being a tyrant. Will she love him, and does he care about receiving her love? Primarily. Plutarch, what's the answer to that one?
The answer is yes.
No, the answer is no.
He's not
He
expecting
doesn't
love.
really give
right.
a fuck about her love.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Will she respect him?
This is what I was thinking.
I was thinking you were asking her, so I wasn't paying attention.
Well, I knew that there was
no,
a tricky question. It was a tricky question because I knew.
Okay. Yeah, this is a lesson to the women. If you obtain power, you don't get love.
Yeah.
Because if a man obtains power, he doesn't get love. He gets respect. And a man deeply desires respect.
maybe a
He
lot of
can
feminists.
pretty much live
Okay,
without
okay,
love.
Steve.
A woman can you can respect a woman all you want. If she doesn't feel loved, she's empty.
And look, those ladies who want to be strong, powerful, and independent, what do they say they want from a man? They want to be respected too.
Of course, because that's all you can get from power.
They don't
Power-
really want to be loved, but it contradicts the
Well,
nature.
power is, and I'm going to say something that's really going to rankle some feathers on the men's side of things. Power is not the sum total of the human experience and is not the sum total of human desire. Okay. If, you know, we often say in the US political process that the people who want the people who want to be president the most are the people that we should least be voting for president.
Mhm.
Because somebody who's willing to chase that much power is automatically suspect for for wanting to chase that kind of power, and
And for abusing that power too later on.
right. And look, you can see with the way that President Trump is wielding power right now, he is generating both a lot of respect from one side and a lot of hate from another, but he's not getting love, I don't think, in
No.
Oh, but does he get respect because he gets
he's
the
getting
power?
respect, yes.
Sure.
Now,
men love being respected. Women could give a shit whether they're respected. They just want to be loved.
Right.
Oh, but then they say it's not coming from thin air. We see a lot of strong, independent women. They say that they want to be respected.
That's their belief.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's not what satisfies their nature. So, the dichotomy again.
They're asking for it because they want power, and they know that that's what the result of power is respect. Not from everyone, but they don't care about that. Remember, a lot of these women studied women's studies. You actually go look at the class list. A lot of it has to do with the concept of Marxist power dynamics. Okay. They know this stuff. They know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, you put up Tacticus here. You want to read it?
Oh, do you want to read it?
You can read it.
They will claim they don't feel safe if they don't feel in control or have control, to justify the power they are addicted to and believe they need to be loved.
Tacticus, spot on. Because they equate respect with love. Why?
Yeah.
Because when they are with a dominant man that they respect, they love him for it. They can't separate the two.
And when a woman feels unsafe, her desire is for security. So if she's with a man, let's call him a simp. In order to feel secure, she strives for power, be secure. But then the more power she gets, the more disgust, contempt she feels for the man who's not protecting her. So she feels more unsafe. So the answer is, I have to have even more power. So women who get in a position of control move into this spiral to have more and more control in order to feel secure, because they're not under a man who is protecting them. So it's a recipe for disaster, because it spirals. A woman who gains power, it's never enough power to make her feel secure, because she's out of her place. You put a woman in her place, and I'm using that language particularly. Her place is in submission to a man under his cover and protection, And this is a content place.
Yeah.
You put her in the exposed position where she has to provide for her own security. Now all the external world is hitting her. Boom, 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 boom. If she's under here, the external world is hitting him. She doesn't have to deal with that stuff. It's a much more contented place to be. But the more control she gains, the more control she needs.
I'm going to do two examples here. So we have the example of the women who are just, they can never have enough power. And that would be somebody like Nancy Pelosi or Kamala Harris. Now, interesting fact on those. Okay. Particularly in the case of Pelosi, there was still a guy over her. There was still the because she was in Congress for decades, all men. Okay. Even then, she didn't actually have to take all the slings and arrows of the world. Kamala, well, we know Joe Biden was a potted plant, but she was basically useless. The slings and arrows for Kamala were being taken by nameless men inside the administration. On the other extreme of the spectrum, we have hybristophilia. These are women who go for these evil men who are capable of unspeakable violence. Why? Because a man who is capable of unspeakable violence and demonstrates it, well, if I can convince him to quote unquote wife me up, or they usually don't get married, but take me under his protection, I will be safer than all the other women out there. And I'm bringing this up to get to Steve's point. Yeah, for women, they can either go the power route, which is a spiral, or you can end up in the hybristophilia spiral, where you end up dating literal gangbangers and murderers for the purpose of feeling safe. Now, yes, most women are not this, but both are the result of female nature. A woman can't handle the responsibility of power, and a woman has within her a desire for security at all times, and that can spiral out of control too.
Yeah, they want to be secured by a dominant man, and
the point I'm trying to make is women need a moderating presence in their lives at all times. If it's not their father, they need to have another man who's moderating their lives, or they spiral. We celebrate the women who spiral into power. We mock the women who spiral into hybristophilia. Both are the result of the same problem.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Lack of moderation.
Lack of fatherly or male moderation.
Yeah.
Some analogy just came to mind because I'm an analytical guy. A nuclear reactor. You have all those uranium rods comprised of pellets and all those neutrons going around, and it's heating things up. It's like emotions. What happens? How do you control that?
Well, you use some sort of neutron moderator material.
Do you have Chernobyl. To like insert carbon rods?
You have to insert some carbon. The one everyone knows is Chernobyl. They used boron.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to have rods that go down to cool the reaction. Yep. Well, okay, that's kind of like something that moderates.
Yeah.
Okay, what happens when I pull out all the control rods?
Runaway reaction.
Oh, you get literally Chernobyl. That's what they actually did. They pulled out all the control rods, and the reaction ran away.
Okay, so what's necessary to prevent that? What do you do when things are run away? What's the acronym?
Scram. Scram. Yeah, I was going to say.
What does
Sorry, I
that
was thinking
stand for?
Chernobyl, which is AZ5, but
What is Scram? Scram is an acronym.
oh, I'd have to look it up. I'm not a new kid.
Okay. This goes back to when they were first doing it. They needed a foolproof method. They were first testing this and they didn't know what was going on. So when they scram, all the rods were held up with a rope. Went down on a pulley over this wooden block or whatever. So scram stood for safety. Cut rope axeman.
Yeah, emergency shutdown. Emergency shutdown.
You scram because they had a human who would cut the rope, drop the control rods down, cool off the reaction. Well, okay. Let's call women the active element, and men the moderating element. You know what? When she gets out of control and she's runaway reaction. Yeah, she needs the tempering force of the man. He needs to scram.
Which is what that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It's frame, knowing when, and then having the tools. So it's frame and game. Now, in the case of her runaway emotions, you're not going to use standard game tools, but you need that dominant masculine presence. You need that to be able to come in and keep your wits about you when the reaction's running away, to be able to go, oh crap, we need to drop all the control rods, moderate this reaction, and then we can once we've moderated the reaction, then we can start over and figure out how we're going to do this. Okay.
Hopefully.
So, okay, I have a question for you guys now. Since we realize that women are this active reaction that's going to explode at any moment because they tend to spiral, right? What needs to be done? Is there anything that can be done in that case when we see that a lot of guys, they don't want to deal with this kind of reaction anymore? They don't want to deal with this women.
No, I think that's more a reaction to her unwillingness to be moderated.
Yeah.
What I would say is, for most guys, you're when you're dealing with something like that, again, this goes back to vetting. You need to be early in the relationship. If the goal is long term, you need to be figuring out if she can be moderated. If she can't be moderated, she's for the streets. She's for recreational use only. Whatever phrase you choose.
She's for Chernobyl explosion, right?
Right. Yeah. Just well, look, you have two choices. You can either run in and be the fireman and get your hands burned by radioactivity, or you can run the other way. Okay. Or you can come in and try to moderate the reaction, but go watch the HBO Chernobyl series. Those guys, they show a lot of different things. Like the guys who actually figured out how to stop, they didn't figure out how to stop it. They figured out how to slow it down enough that they could work around it. But like if you're going in with a broken woman, you're playing that character. You're not, you're not the firemen. The firemen are kind of the clueless men who don't know anything about women. They're just doing what they're told. The smart people are running away, and there weren't many of those in that situation. And there are not many today. But for the rest of you guys, if you're going to play with these unmoderated women, you have to know how to put out radioactive fire, and it is not an easy thing to do.
Sounds to me like you're saying, don't marry a Chernobyl woman.
Yeah,
pretty much.
That would be smart.
Yes, don't marry a Chernobyl woman. Which
there are other Russian models that might be safe to marry.
Good luck with that. You know,
There's
you
some,
guys,
there's
you
some.
guys need to do the episode on the passport bros, please.
Oh God.
Yeah, because a lot of guys, maybe they look at some Russian girls, and there are a couple that are more submissive or that can be moderated, but most of them are not. Look, we have feminism there too. Okay.
Actually, modern birthplace of modern feminism is St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
Communist feminism was born in St. Petersburg.
Kollontai? Is that the right name?
Kollontai.
Alexandra Kollontai.
Kollontai, I think.
Kollontai.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was close.
Yeah.
I could have found it.
I think we've talked about her before, even. I think she came up on one of our prior episodes. Yes. That Marxist feminism that you all are so familiar with today was born in St. Petersburg, Russia. So, don't.
Kollontai. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She says it with the proper accent.
Russian, yeah, Kollontai.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. Russian
Right.
revolutionary politician. Yeah.
See, there it is. And she was what, 1920s, I think?
Well, she was there early the teens, actually. She was there from the beginning.
Yeah. So, it's like, don't assume that just because she's not from the West that she's somehow this angel. Oh, I could tell you stories about guys, going to the Philippines and finding out, shall we say?
During the Second World War, mostly it's 1943 to 1945 when she was in office.
Oh, we're not interested when she was office. We're interested she was agitating and thinking and writing.
I see.
It was earlier in her life.
I don't know. Go back to Rachel Wilson's book.
Okay, she
yes.
writes about her. Okay.
She talks about her. That's a good short read. You can't. I mean, you're foolish if you're living in the modern world thinking you're going to solve all the things you see about modern women in this situation, and you don't know the history of how we got here, or that women have always behaved this way.
Yes.
But maybe there's been a more moderating element.
Yes.
Males had more control over the reactive element of women. The more means to moderate, control, more power, whatever, that made society safe. Whatever analogy you want to use. You really don't know shit if you don't know history of how things have always been this way, on one hand, and how we got to where we're at based on what preceded us.
Well,
you're delusional. And you'll come up with the wrong answers if you don't look to history.
Yeah, you certainly can't figure out where we are today if you're not willing to look at history. And where we are today is we decided that it was necessary for some reason to remove the moderating influence. That's just what it is. And because we looked at how that moderating influence worked, and we said, we don't like how that moderator works.
Okay, let me ask a question here. Elena, what don't you understand, or what are you struggling with in absorbing this and applying this?
I understand now better, but I might have some questions later.
Of course you have questions. Okay, and I'm using this as an example to other men. You talk about things and she's going, yeah. Okay, now it's at some point it's time to go back and say, oh, what do you think? What are you feeling about this? And you need to lead. You need to prompt her. You need to inquire and ask her. Does she know? Did Elena know? No. She was feeling, and she hadn't actually processed. She can't articulate what's going on in her mind. So now you need to go through some patience and actually guide her and actually care. Care about what she's thinking. This is how you practice this this skill, that you actually have to draw her out, and then whatever she's thinking or feeling, being patient, saying, "Oh, that's fine," and metaphorically give her a hug as she is talking about or asking questions. What do you have to say about that, Plutarch?
Guys, being in a relationship is a lot of fucking work. These women, they are only feeling. Even ones who, like Elena, have a more rational bent and view of the world, they're always feeling. They're always approaching it from feelings first. Now, occasionally, I can leverage her rational bent to drag her to the answers, usually kicking and screaming. Because humans, particularly humans tied up in emotions, they don't want. I mean, you guys have heard this said, women will tell you, I don't want you to solve it. I just want you to listen.
Yeah.
Right. That's her emotions talking. That's her feelings talking. So a large part of learning how to work with women is learning how to put the feeling, how to, when you're dealing with it, put the feelings in a box and go, okay, she has these. And now I have to work with them. The reason I say put them in a box is because you're not going to let them dominate you. That's the mistake that a lot of men make. They let their women emotionally dominate them. No, you have to put a boundary on those feelings. That's the moderation aspect of this. Okay? Put the boundary on the feelings, cool them down, and then you go back, and then you can go back and, this is going to depend on your woman. You're going to have to know, sometimes she'll just cool down and walk away as if it never happened. Elena does that. Cool her down, and then she walks away because she doesn't care anymore. Why? Because she was in an emotional spiral. Sometimes there is something actually going on where she does actually need help, but you're not going to figure that out until you moderate down the emotions. Put the emotions in the moderation box. Put the emotion, for you hockey fans out there, put the emotions in the penalty box for a while. Okay. And then let her cool down. And sometimes you're going to have to help her cool down. Remember, this is a runaway reaction. You're going to have to be there containing it. This is an active process. Okay.
Yeah.
And then once she's calmed down, you can work through the problem a little more sanely. I was going to say rationally, but that's never a thing. But at least you, the man, won't lose your mind trying to contain this woman. And
it sounds like too much work. Women are just too much work.
women, yeah, yes, women are a lot of work. Why would you want one?
Exactly.
Well, but here's the deal, and this is kind of an unfortunate aspect of modern life.
Yeah.
Women used to be used to being moderated by their fathers.
Mm-hmm.
And so when a man came in and did it, she understood. So when her husband came in and did it, she understood from her father that, oh, this is okay.
Yeah.
And then let it happen. That's really where, looking at the history, that's really where men have through time have lost that's why you see all these women who are just insane.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no man who can control them because they have never been controlled. They don't know why being moderated might be a good thing for them. And so that's the vetting process, guys. And with those women, recreational use only.
Isn't there is this something new?
Oh, no.
Or this always been there? Hey, is there a famous play about this? Oh, wait a minute. Didn't Shakespeare write this thing called The
Taming
Taming
of the
of
Shrew.
the Shrew?
Hmm.
Oh, did that man have to go through a lot of effort?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, it was a lot of work. Uh-huh. A lot of responsibility. Yep. Are men in general afraid of a lot of work or responsibility? A lot of men aren't.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the air. Okay, we had this plane crash. Plutarch and I were talking about it. But okay, let's just talk about the air traffic controllers. Takes you probably, okay, you got to get in. Takes you probably 4 years of training to actually be the guy controlling the traffic.
Yeah.
And then
About
you're
right.
there for hours and you're looking at the screen and you're telling people what to do. You got this level of responsibility and people's lives depend on you.
Yeah.
You can't fuck up.
You can't even go to the bathroom when you need.
And so you have this immense responsibility, and man, you have to be on target. And these guys, okay, there are rules. And well, okay, we had some DEI influence, but you know what? You have to become an air traffic controller before the age of 31, and you have to retire at 56. There are no air traffic controllers out there older than 56. They know it's a high stress job, high responsibility. Your pay is okay, but you're not in it for the pay. It's great satisfaction, and it's a lot of work. Why the hell would you sign up for a job with that much work? Yet you talk to some of these guys, damn, that was the greatest job. I loved it.
So are
I'm
you
not that
saying
guy.
that women are going to be that greatest job? Well, in addition to dealing with women that are problematic, as we've determined, men have to maintain their jobs to provide for the family.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
So
yeah. Yes. Men eat stress for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And this is that is how it has always been and how it shall always be. Okay. Yes. A lot of those air traffic controllers, they're married. And they're married to
it's a simple analogy. Yes, women are a lot of work. But since when have men been afraid of a lot of work or having a lot of responsibility? Okay, well, just comes with the territory of being a man. Not every man will embrace this, but yet this is in the nature of the man. God created him with dominion, responsibility, and okay, that's a lot of work. Okay, that's what I was made
this is
for.
why the threat consent, the church people
No.
say, like, man up and do better because
yes, they
you
are trying to
slave.
leverage. They're trying to leverage this male interest in high stress. Here's the thing, though. With an air traffic controller, if I do my job right, the metal doesn't the bits of metal in the sky don't touch. Okay. That's doing my job right. I can do my job right. There are controllers who've gone without. Most controllers will go through their entire career never seeing metal touch. Okay, that's a 100% success rate. Pretty damn good feeling for a guy. Okay, these women come in though. These women who do power, and they're basically there is such thing as a woman who is untamable.
Yeah.
Because she's so obsessed with power and other things. And it's like, okay, well, the man is not going to, the man's not going to be able to do anything about that. Like there's a stressful job, but the man needs to be offered a reasonable chance of success.
Well, exactly. What does he get for his efforts?
Exactly.
And I would love to talk to this Ishar at some point. I don't know if he's here. Guys, please go subscribe to his YouTube channel. We really enjoy his content. And you guys have been on his channel twice, I think, right?
We've gone back and forth once each.
Oh, okay, once on each channel. Okay. Yeah, he's talking about dowry a lot, and he mentioned that if all the women want a serious relationship, and I'm going to paraphrase what he said, they need to bring something really good to the table, because look, their fertility is gone.
I would
done.
Yes.
You know,
I would challenge, and this might be an interesting discussion. I would challenge him a little bit. If she is a strong, successful woman who has built all that money, look, guys don't care about your money.
yeah.
You know, that's
but
not
if they
why
want a younger guy, for example, like they could actually help younger men out, because look, parents are not that concerned about men in particular.
They could, but the younger man. There's an interesting relationship that could be had there, but I don't know if it's one of I think it'd be more one of mutual convenience. And it's not going to be the same kind of relationship where, you know, you're getting to get, I mean, well, she can't have kids. So it's like she's basically an angel investor, or I'm going to use this word. You guys are familiar with the patronage system, you know, where men would fund artists to you know, create art. That's like, if it was something like that, where she comes in and she's a matron. I'm not going to use the word patron, but she's a matron for a guy, and you know, she's funding his early life to help build him into something. Like, that's okay. But here's the thing: the moment that guy becomes something, he's going to have young women around him, and all of a sudden that older woman's not going to look so hot. She's just not going to have the value. I don't think.
If a young man has honor and
when you're a successful guy, and you're being offered young tail.
There is always temptation. Yeah.
Well, because at the end of the day, what do men want? They want young, fertile women.
Fertile.
Right. And so it's like, it's an interesting idea, but I don't know that you're going to solve the relationship problem with it. You know, it would have to be some sort of matronage system where she knows that she is there for a limited time, and that she's going to lose him to the younger, hotter model at some point. And I don't know a lot of women who are going to be willing to sign up for that.
Yeah, sacrifice their resources.
It's a fascinating idea. But
it is a fascinating idea. I actually wanted to talk to him about this one, and it would be fun to have a show together. So yeah. Well, we've been going for a while now, guys. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I still want to hear what you're confused about.
Oh, geez.
Did you see how very cleverly she deflected? Got us talking about something else.
Exactly. Yeah.
By the way, guys, you just saw what moderation actually looks like in practice. She did this clever deflection. We talked about something else, but nope. Loop right back to it.
Oh, geez. I thought that I would have some questions by between now and then while we were talking about something else.
Okay. Okay. Now that I put her on the hook, I'm going to take her off the hook.
Oh, how generous. Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to give a lesson to the guys again. We talked about a lot. She's got a lot of things going on in her mind. She hasn't processed through this. But I asked her. It hasn't. There's a lot of things that have not coagulated. She can't answer it. Okay. That's fine. Just leave it here. And you know what? As it percolates around in her brain, Plutarch is going to have to deal with this at lunch tomorrow.
Damn it.
Steve was trying to to help you, darling.
No, he wasn't.
No, by asking if I had any thoughts now, he was trying to take some load of you.
He's okay. You fill it with fill a woman with this thought, stimulation, ideas, whatever. She's not going to think that fast and be able to articulate it now. So just let it sit. Let her sleep on it.
Yep.
And it will come up. And then, okay, so it's not just have the discussion, reach a conclusion, move on and forget about it. No.
Emotions don't work that way.
Let it just percolate, stew around. She'll figure it out. And then after, the next day or two, it's gonna be an ongoing thing. So that's just the nature of life.
Yep.
Yeah.
So do you feel like I took you off the hook here, Elena?
Expect some messages from me then in the group chat.
Well, and guys, I have seen this play out so many times with Elena. We will have a discussion, and then 2 days later, she'll come back with, but what about this? Whatever this is doesn't matter. Women don't process like men do. They just don't. They process emotion first, and emotion is not rational. It's not logical. It's not point A, point B, point C. It's a giant plate of spaghetti, and they're just kind of, sorry, sweetie, they're just kind of smashing their face into the plate and eating through their, just like they're wearing their food. Like they don't process linearly. They process by slurping food off the plate like a barbarian.
And this is not diminishing women or complaining or saying there's something wrong. Just reality.
Tacticus? Yeah, pretty much.
Obi-Wan Kenobi priming Elena with mind tricks, huh?
Yep. Well, but a lot of game is exactly that, though. It is using tricks, mental tricks. You can call them tricks, but it's just using knowledge of female emotion, how females think and process, to get in front of them, to be able to moderate them. A runaway reaction. What do? You moderate it. Well, okay. But if you don't want a runaway reaction, you're constantly moderating. You're constantly going, oh, I should pull back here a little bit. I need to add a little bit of moderation, right? You don't ever want to run away.
Okay. And here's another thing. Women want affirmation. In an exchange like this with Elena, you could say, well, thank you for listening. I'm glad you're thinking about this. You can give her a hug after this and say, great, we can talk about this in the future. You took off the pressure. You acknowledged. If you have questions, I want to talk about this when you're ready. That's affirming who she is. You're not expecting anything from her at this time. You're not expecting a performance. You're just being open. And you're actually stimulating a woman. Remember, women create drama because they want stimulation.
Mm-hmm.
Give her some stimulation. This is not drama stimulation, but yet it's things for her to think about, feel about, figure out what she's doing. It kind of invigorates her, makes her feel alive. Theoretically, I'm just guessing because I'm not a woman, but this is the kind of thing she's looking for. And if you provide this environment, then she's not going to become dissatisfied and have to go find herself.
Yeah, right. Because essentially, why are they trying to find themselves? It's because they are looking for that stimulation, and they are looking for invigoration.
Well, one of the things that I do when she comes back 2 days later is I re-engage. And she'll tell you that sometimes she doesn't like this because routinely I have to re-engage and reaffirm my point because she's looking for testing and probing my argument to see if maybe she found an argument that I don't have an answer for. Yeah, you see her face down there, guys?
Mhm.
Yeah, she knows exactly what I'm talking about. This is part of the game, guys. And I let her bring the conversation back to it. And I don't just say, "Oh no,
The answer doesn't change though.
exactly." I don't lose my frame and give up to her. I let her try her new argument. I disassemble her new argument, and then she gets deflated again, and she has to process again. And it can take us on a particularly on red pill topics. It can take us a month to really work through a conversation. And I know for you guys out there, you're going, "What the hell? A month?" Yeah, sorry guys, that's the speed women process at. When you're processing emotion first, that's
Okay.
And it's on the more rational side,
Hold
guys.
That is the speed that a smart woman processes.
Exactly. Thank you.
Elena is pretty high IQ. I mean, yeah, she knows a lot of languages. She has a lot of information. She's not average intelligence woman. She's actually wanting to think about this, and it takes that long.
Mm.
Now, if you're working with an average intelligence woman, you may never get there.
I would actually assume that you don't.
You think, oh, I'm gonna marry an intelligent woman, so I don't have to deal with this
No, you're not.
amount of time. Hey, you're delusion. As a man, you're
Intelligent
delusion.
women ask intelligent
You
questions.
should embrace the intelligent woman and realize, yes, it's going to take a lot of time, but at least you have a good chance of reaching a consensus.
Well, I'm going to pull out I'm going to pull out $1,000 word here because, guys, we're talking about, oh, you're going to marry an intelligent woman. No, you're not. The studies on this are very clear. The bell curve on IQ for women is here's the $1,000 word, leptokurtic, which means that it tends to cluster around the average. There are fewer women at 3 standard deviations of intelligence than there are men. There are fewer women at 2 standard deviations. Both sides. There are fewer dumber women and there are fewer smarter women at any of the standard deviations. There are more women of average intelligence. So men out there, calibrate your expectations for average intelligence because statistically, that's what you're going to get. Okay? And that's exactly what Steve said. You may never actually get to the end of the conversation before you die or break
And
up.
if you doubt me, watch the whatever podcast, especially the clips.
Yes.
Where Andrew Wilson is dealing with these women. He
May
cannot
never
ever get
Yeah.
there. And this is the typical woman. And yes, oh my God, they're just picking women that make women look bad. No. Okay, maybe I can't unequivocally say
so.
that's not true, but I think they're picking average women, and this is the average conversation,
Yeah.
and it can be irrefutable logic, and yet they still feel the way they do, and they don't take the facts into consideration, and you never will reach a consensus. This is just the typical experience that men have. Get used to it, deal with it, accept it.
Yeah, guys, it's we were talking about, air traffic controllers, high stress job. Guess what? Women are a high stress job and it's never going to go away. It is literally until death do you part if you're doing the marriage vows.
With the high traffic controller, you get paid for your job. In case of the woman, women take resources out of you. They don't
Well,
bring.
I mean, that's
Who
a concept for a
cares?
different show.
The air traffic
I-
controllers are not doing that job for the pay
They're not getting
because they
paid
are
that
not
much.
paid in correlation to their importance, responsibility.
Yeah,
And
that's
they are
true.
never praised for doing a good job. Nobody gives a shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, they own the. In fact, it's like in many ways an air traffic controller is like being a man, because if you do your job, no one knows you ever did it. But the moment you fail, oh goodness,
Everyone knows.
everyone knows, and everyone's going to be telling you about how you failed.
No, I'm just saying that okay, at least you get the job done. It's already high stress, right? And it's a manly job to do. When you're dealing with women, especially modern women today, that are
No.
ungrateful, like like what do you get? You know, like, what do you
No,
get from
no.
this?
The job of air traffic control is never done. This is why mandatory retirement at 56. The difference with women is, men, the only way we can get mandatory retirement from a woman is to divorce her.
Oh, what do you get? If you can manage a woman well, you'll get paid in sex.
Pretty
Well,
much, yeah.
that's how
You don't manage her well. Okay, it's gonna be a sexless
Wow.
marriage.
Okay, now statistically, how many men get even that
Well, most don't.
for all of their efforts?
Well, this comes down
Oh.
to the question: is the woman even
Yeah.
manageable? And that's why
Yeah.
we were talking about this at the beginning. Most women aren't manageable anymore, regardless of how much effort you put in. You know, and that's why I was saying earlier. You know, when women who grew up with a moderative force in their lives, their fathers, are going to be manageable because they're used to being managed. But if you don't, so guys, here's a thing to look at when you're vetting. If she was raised by a single mom, at this point, I would just say she's for recreational use only.
Yeah.
Let me say this. It takes more skills to manage a modern woman than it did for our predecessors.
Absolutely.
And at this point, men have less skills
Yeah, absolutely.
than our predecessors to manage a greater task. That's just the way it is.
The red pill is more important now than it ever has been.
Yeah.
Guys need this more than they ever have.
So I want some consensus.
But then it's like, how many men do even want to bother with that? Because a big chunk of red pill is pickup artists that say only short term, and then for short term you don't really need.
Well, that's a valid strategy, but
you know,
you're asking the question of how many men. No, you're not. It's not about how many want to. They all want to. How many men have the tools and the drive? Because remember, air traffic controllers have a drive to do this. The more difficult the women to manage, the fewer men that there will be.
Want them. Yeah.
Well, just the fewer men that there will be able to do it at all. So that's, like the answer is not to try to make better men. I mean, and the reason I say that is not because making better men is bad, but because most men are broadly okay with trying to become better. It's built into their nature. Like, we can work with that. The red pill exists to make better men.
But this is why the tradcons know that they have to push them in, because men are likely to do the hard work. Men are more responsible. Men have the sense of honor, accountability.
Until you increase the number of moderatable women, they're just competing over a small pool.
Yeah.
Plutarch talked about how most women are average intelligence. Guess what? The majority of men are average in intelligence.
That's true.
As well. Well, okay, there's greater variation, but the majority of men do not want to go into the level of intellect philosophically understand.
Right.
Stop worrying about how she's thinking and go into how she's feeling. I will say that the majority of men don't have a clue as to what I just said.
Or they maybe don't see the point in this because
No. The one of the problems that people of above average intelligence have is they assume that people of lower intelligence are still capable of doing high intelligence things, just not as well. No. Like
Mm.
I
they'll
just
never get
need to
there.
dumb it down and convince them and really just explain it. And then they'll understand. Not if they don't have the capability or the desire to understand that.
But yeah, like if they have the desire, whatever intellect you're at is the speed at which you'll get there. But if they don't have if they don't want to get there, you'll never convince them to. And I think what we're looking at in the modern dating pool is you have women who require an immense amount of effort. Okay. And if you're somebody of average IQ, you have a certain amount of effort you can put in 24 hours. And maybe a woman, even if she's also of average IQ, requires more effort than that guy can put in because she's so dismoderated, so unmoderated that he can't keep up with her chain reaction, her meltdowns. I mean, we talk about female emotions in the terms of meltdowns, an emotional meltdown that comes from nuclear reactors melting down. So this concept of moderation has actually been built into our lexicon for decades, and we didn't even realize it. An unmoderated reactor melts down. Okay. So, so if you have a woman who has never been moderated, she's just a constant runaway reaction, it's going to take a man of exceptional capability. And that could be intellect, but it's more than just intellect. It's the desire to do it. It's the willingness to seek out the tools and knowledge and training to do it. Okay. You've got to do all of that as a guy. Yeah, how many and then I have to take this woman who's, an emotional mess and try and work with it. Okay. Even for a guy who can do all of those things, there's going to be very few willing to step into that situation and
But
work
you
with those.
man up.
Well, but that's the thing that tradcons are missing. They think they can just that they can just demand that
Define
men do
performance,
this.
yeah.
No, yeah, exactly. They think they can command performance. No, they can't, because the number of men who can perform at that level is naturally very small. And this is why they fail. But it's also kind of why now the red pill, we more accept that, but it's like you can't, and I think we've said this before, you can't browbeat men into just being, by saying, oh, just go to the gym and learn game and it's like, yes, you can tell them to do that, and many of them will, but if they aren't capable at that high level, it's not going to be enough. They're going to get blown up by biting off more woman than they can chew, and then they're going to leave the red pill because we don't know what we're talking about. We have to be willing to step back and say, okay, what can we actually achieve with how far can we get just working on men? Well, okay, we can get this far. After that, you are going to have to go out and work on things related to women. You can't work on women directly. That's why I keep talking about this concept of fatherly moderation. That's why I keep saying if she's raised by a single mom, she's for the streets.
Okay, guys, I think we have a topic next time. We will be talking about fatherly moderation, maybe, or what Steve suggested. We will dive in deeper into that one if you want.
I want to ask people, and I sincerely want your comments. I'm willing to do, or with Elena, to do a topic on submission to a simp. Okay, is it possible? Okay, so if we're talking about submission, we need to talk about dominance. who philosophically talks about submission and dominance. Okay, it's a Christian concept. Yep. Is it talked about among Christians? No. No. Okay. Truth, if you consider that truth, the positive, the negative, to have submission, you need dominance. Okay, if that's a truth, it doesn't evaporate in the land of should be, how things should be. It's going to go somewhere. Where has it gone? I'll tell you where it's gone. The world of BDSM. Okay, that's one aspect. Dominant submission, taken in hand, domestic discipline. Okay, these are things. You may not like those things. And I'm not saying they are right. What I'm saying is they're talking about the aspects of dominance and submission. And so we're going to have to delve into that to actually understand what they're thinking and feeling and desiring. And then redeem these motivations and bring them back into Christianity. And yes, are you skirting some things that might make you uncomfortable? You are. But no one else is talking about it. And if that's where the truth is, are you willing to have an open mind to talk about things that might make you uncomfortable and say, well, I'm not going that far? That's fine. I'm not saying you should go that far. I don't go that far. But understanding human nature sometimes is best revealed by going to the fringes to understand what they're talking about, because they're the only people who are willing to talk about it. So can we talk about that? Because there's a channel on YouTube, Interactive BDSM. These guys talk about issues that are, man, they're understanding what a woman is feeling, what a man is feeling, and talking about it. And yeah, sometimes talk about things that, that's not for me. Can we do that in a respectful way? Or should we leave it alone?
I find that topic very interesting, actually. I watched that video that you sent to me, and we probably will show the video next time, right? If we dive into this topic. And
what do you think, Plutarch? Can we go there in a safe way?
We can. What I think might be helpful is to look for other places where this truth crops up and draw parallels, because I think the red pill has some of it too.
It does, yeah.
But also, are there other places that because you were talking about air traffic controllers, and the aviation industry has a long-standing totalitarian view of how to do things, and it's it's like, I'm not saying that that's a direction we need to go, but are there other places we can go in life to see? Because as you were saying in the chat, the truth, if we suppress it in one place,
it
tends
will
to come up somewhere else. So can we identify the other places where this truth has come up and draw parallels to say, look, there's actually something here, and okay, this group is talking about it, and yeah, they're not talking about it in ways that we would necessarily like or comfortable with or agree with, but they're talking about it. Because I think the red pill actually has a similar problem, in terms of how other people view it, right? A lot of the stuff we talk about is very uncomfortable, and to a lot of people, especially women. Look at how much time they spend ragging on us, right?
Yeah.
So, but one of the things that might be helpful is to say, no, this is a truth that you can see many places in life, because And the reason to do that would be to say, well, it's not that we're trying to focus on this one thing as the source of truth. It's here's examples of how these truths show up in different places.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
I'll have to show up for that one too, won't I?
Yes, please.
Definitely
Otherwise, I'll be
will.
very uncomfortable talking. Yeah.
And Nick should be here for this one because Nick also has a moderating influence.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
You know what? I think sometimes I push things a little bit further, and I know I can because I count on you and Nick to moderate me.
You mean guys do the moderation thing on each other too?
Definitely.
Well, just as a closing point, guys, get used to this concept of moderation because and accept it because you do it on other men. Look, men have all sorts of rules and methods of moderating other men. You know what? It's okay to apply that same that concept to women too. You're going to use different tools. And it's going to look different for women.
Oh, and here's the other thing. Plutarch and Nick moderate me in public, but less so in our private discussions.
Well, we have to know what we're going to be moderating before we can moderate it, don't we?
Yeah.
Even though Nick's no longer on the stream, I can hear him cringing already.
Hey, I like to push things. It's kind of a good thing to push the envelope. Guys, don't be afraid of pushing the envelope.
Yep.
That's kind of the job of being a man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as I get older, I have that. I don't give a shit. I'm going to put it out there. If you don't like it, well, that's your problem.
Yeah, but Steve, here I would say, as a young man, also don't be afraid of pushing the envelope of seeing where pushing the boundaries. When I was a young man in flight school, one of the things that I was very specific about doing was going out and getting experience above and beyond what they were teaching me. I actually took a little Cessna out into icing, which you're not supposed to do. But boy, did I learn what that plane can and cannot do in icing. I wasn't stupid about it. And to the FAA, it wasn't intentional. But sometimes you're up there and, you get caught in it. And if you don't know what that plane can and can't do, you won't be able to fly it. And so, you have to go out there and stretch the envelope a little bit. I could tell a story about a landing I did that drained me so hard that my knees were shaking getting out of the plane because it took that much effort to control the plane. Okay. But at the end of it, I knew I could do it. And people would say, oh, well, but no, I did this by myself. So it's me in the airplane. Oh, but you could crash. Yeah, you're right. I could. But it was an incremental. I would push the boundaries a little bit, push them a little more, push them a little more. And at each stage, I'm learning what I can and can't get away with. What I can and can't actually do. Because when you need those things in life, when you need to push it, if you don't know, you will make a mistake.
Or if you encounter a situation that is vastly foreign than you've encountered before, it could be overwhelming. But if you got close to that point, not quite that far, but close,
it's not so overwhelming.
Yeah.
You kind of already know what it's like. You haven't gone that far, but you're like, yeah, but I've been in something similar before, and I dealt with it this way. Let me try that. Oh, okay, well, that didn't work. Okay, well, maybe this, you don't have to work the entire problem tree. You only have to work the new part.
Right. We're talking about it from a male standpoint.
Yes, we are.
Understand it from a female standpoint. Abstractly, women have even a greater difficulty
Yes.
understanding something they have not experienced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to say that again. If a woman has not experienced that, she has no basis for understanding it.
Absolutely.
And so she will kind of contrive or imagine how she might feel in that circumstance. Probably not be thinking, or she will just shut down and come up with the wrong answer because she doesn't abstractly think about how would I feel and deal with this thing that I haven't experienced. She has no concept, and she doesn't have the discipline or the mental training to put those parameters around and think abstractly into something she has not experienced.
One of the things, I'm going to say this and I'm going to piss a lot of people off. One of the problems that we have training female pilots in emergency procedures is their first reaction tends to be to shut down. We can train them past that. But I've seen it that men, they tend to start working the problem. Now, with the lack of training, they don't work it correctly. And if you're an instructor, you can watch these men get yourself in some really crap situations. But the women tend to just shut down and stop. And that's what Stephen's talking about here.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, guys, I have a question for you then. In yoga, we were taught this stop method. It's abbreviation. S refers to stop. T, take a breath. O, observe. And then P, proceed.
That's a variation of the OODA loop. Observe, orient, decide, and act.
Act. Okay. So how is it applicable in these extreme situations in male type jobs and
Well, it's the OODA loop. So the OODA loop comes out of the military.
mhm.
I've mostly heard it from out of the Army guys, but I'm sure all of them use it. Observe, look around, what's happening. Something happened. Orient yourself towards that thing that happened. Okay. I might be, decide what am I going to do about that thing that happened, and then follow through, act on that.
Well, they teach that for women too, but I don't think that women follow through the whole process.
No, they don't.
Like Steve
Right.
says, they just end with stop. They just stop, right?
Okay. There are two general reactions to a dangerous situation.
Mhm.
Oh, we've all heard of fight or flight.
Yeah.
Oh, you corner an animal, it's fight or flight. Oh, you cornered him.
Can't
He
fly.
can't flee. So he's going to fight. So do not corner an animal. But the other one is freeze and scream.
Oh,
That's what women do.
So oftentimes, yeah, that's what a woman does. Okay, you confront her or present to her situation, a crisis. She has no experience to evaluate or understand or decide what to do.
mhm.
He freezes and screams because
Yeah.
he has no training or experience of where to go, what to do. Well, so she freezes.
Oh, she
So
freezes.
in yoga, that acronym is good because it applies to both men and women. It gives her a path out of the freeze and scream.
Oh, I see. Well, it's kind of also how they frame it often, and you'll see different instructors using different words.
That's to try and get women and men to interact with what's really a foreign concept.
Okay, but the idea is to turn your fight or flight mode off. This is how a lot of instructors are
not
framing it.
off, but to direct it.
Mm.
You can't really turn your limbic system off.
And to prevent you from going into freeze or scream, which is a really bad response.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
Wow, we've gone all over the place today.
Yes. Well, I'm asking because I'm trying to include that meditation element into my cross-training fitness program.
That's good. How many?
Guys?
We've been all over the map. We've found correlations and truths that just kind of exist everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The same kind of theme. Okay, and that's the way life is. Okay, people heavily analytical, maybe higher IQ, probably higher IQ, intelligence, whatever you want to call it, can draw conclusions and parallels. Oh, I saw the same thing over here. I saw the same thing over there. Same emotion, same feeling. It feels, looks the same, has some of the same aspects. Okay. Plutarch and I can do that. Elena can do that too. Your average person kind of looks at things like a silo. What's true over here is over here. Then I have to learn something new over in this center thing, and rules over here are different. And they learn that they're silos. And you learn to your learning is based on the experience in this silo. And it's a skill, maybe related to intelligence, but it's also experience, training, discipline to correlate things from the three areas to find commonalities to encounter something new. Oh, yeah, okay, this is a new silo. Okay, I can use what I learned at these other things to apply to something I haven't experienced.
Yeah.
And that is a skill. It needs to be developed, but in some ways, it's an ability that a lot of people do not have or don't readily have and understand that, yeah, they can apply things they learned in seemingly unrelated areas to something new.
So true. Agree 100%. It's like proper posture in fitness when we teach people proper posture in Pilates, and then I tell them that they can always apply it anywhere in daily activities, in other fitness activities. Yeah. Well, very interesting conversation today, guys. Thank you so much for this topic, Steve. Yeah, guys, please go subscribe to the Resurgence of Sanity. Here is the link to the YouTube channel. I'm going to share the schedule with you next. So here is our schedule of activities. On Saturdays, with the Resurgence of Sanity, we have these interesting, amazing conversations. Join us. Tell us what you think. If you are running late and if you missed the chat, you can always drop a comment in the comment section. We appreciate your opinion. And then join us for the regular workouts from Mondays to Fridays and also on Sundays. And my crazy piano practice is on Sunday as well. And then on Wednesdays at 5:45 p.m. Pacific, 7:45 p.m. Central, and 8:45 p.m. Eastern, Join the Resurgence of Sanity, guys, on their YouTube channel. Okay. Cool. Any final thoughts? Or we've said everything we wanted.
I don't know if we do any more final thoughts. We'll launch another
I know,
half-hour
right?
discussion.
But that was interesting. That was amazing. Okay, guys, please do like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. And join us for more discussions and for more activities. We'll see you soon. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre, the best place on the internet, the very best by far.